Religious artifacts, like Catholic music, pretty things, and pearls and beach things.
I think, you know, necklaces, there are 15 of those. But it's like,
I just give it to my parents. You know, skill set.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Rosie. I'm the events coordinator here at Readers. I'm very excited to see all of you guys. I'm very excited it's not currently raining. This whole week I've been going like, you're gonna stop by Wednesday, right? Like, just stop. Before we do anything more interesting, if you have anything that makes any noise, phone, watch, wallet, anything that buzzes or rings, you can make sure it's not going to do that tonight. I'd really appreciate it. Just to sort of let everybody know, I think we keep forgetting to do so, we stream our events to our YouTube channel. So we try and do it for everyone, so if there's anything you're interested in that you miss or can't make, it probably is up on our YouTube channel, and it's a great way to kind of make sure everybody can see everything cool that's been going on here.
and if you missed Ada,
Exactly.
you should watch that.
It's really good. So that has been something we've been trying out the last couple of years, and I think just letting people know they're there, and it's a fun thing to be able to do. So the way that tonight's going to work, Nancy's going to read from her book. She's going to tell you all about it, and then afterwards she'll be signing the books over in the middle of the store, over where she was signing earlier. The trick is getting her from up here to over there without there being too much pausing for congratulations and so on. But we planned it out. We're very convenient. The counter's in between here and there. So you can buy all of the books and then go over there and congratulate her for it. So I was really happy when Nancy came and told me about this book coming out, because I was familiar with her memoir, which she wrote. When was that?
Well, unfortunately, it came out during the lockdown.
Yeah.
So, but we did do an event.
Well, yeah, we did.
We did catch up.
Yeah.
And it's always wonderful for me when somebody who's written in one genre scoots over to another genre, and you can still see what a strong writer they are across both of them. So in this one, The Long Red Hair, it's a collection both of stories and little vignettes and little moments that I think make up what is interesting about life and is interesting about storytelling in general. They don't have to be this long breath. You can just understand the poetic moments in between big life things that can happen. And Nancy shared this morning with me, it just got a really great review in Kirkus magazine, amongst other great ones. So she's going to tell us a lot more about it, if you can give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Rosie. Isn't it wonderful to be here in Readers' books? I mean, it's just so comfortable, and it's just such a jewel here in our town. We're so lucky to have this bookstore. It's really wonderful, and they've been very supportive of me. The story that I'm going to read tonight, called Those Colorful Streets, after I wrote it, literally, I didn't realize until after I was done writing it that it was the prologue to my book. Do you have the, can I hold that up? Yeah. So it was the prologue to this book, and I didn't even realize it. So when we did this book in audiobook form, thanks, Gail, I told the producers about it who did the audiobook, and they read it and they said, oh, we want to open the audiobook with that story. So if you listen to the audiobook, the story that I'm going to read right now opens the audiobook. Another kind of fun thing is that this same story was published in an anthology. And they asked me to come read the story at the anthology launch. And so after I finished reading, this man approached me and he came up to me and he said, well, wow, you made that sound like you were really there. And I said, well, sir, that was a memoir piece. And this guy, I mean, you gotta love it. He said to me, are you really that old? So this is those colorful streets, and yes, I was there. And hopefully my eye will behave here while I'm doing this. Those colorful streets. Shopping at Britex on Post Street in San Francisco was my idea of heaven on earth in 1968. Fabulous combinations of cotton candy pink and bright tangerine or purple, teal and lime green prints on fresh bolts of multi-fibered fabrics filled the entire store, roof to basement. Getting down on my knees, digging through oversized cardboard boxes of cool remnants, and finding an unexpected great deal was a big part of the fun. I was always on the lookout for fabric remnants covered with huge geometric shapes in bright colors or sleek Asian prints to create huge fluffy floor pillows. Those comfy creations sold the minute I left them in the craft stores or consignment shops, providing me with additional dollars to help make ends meet. And no one had furniture then, we just all sat on the floor. Everything was Carnaby Street style then, colors, fashion, and music. Humming along to Georgie Girl, playing on the store sound system, I browsed through the sewing patterns for a perfect little mini dress to create for my reddening. Gleefully toting a stuffed Britex bag, my next stop would always be the dance store nearby where they sold leotards and tights in every bright primary color. Laying my new fabrics on the counter, I'd choose 2 or 3 pair of tights and colors to match. This was my look: psychedelic pattern mini dress, jewel tone tights, knee-high boots, earrings, and handmade strands of love beads. My handcrafted bead necklaces were strung on string while I sat on the edge of my bed, quaffing cheap red mountain wine out of a sticky water glass and listening to the very hip sounds of Thelonious Monk. You remember that, right? Prior to the London mod look, my wardrobe was simply basic black. Black headband, black turtleneck, black bell-bottoms, or a black miniskirt, black tights, and black boots. As protection from the fog and cold, I had a heavy waterproof navy blue pea jacket purchased cheaply from the local Army-Navy surplus store. This look, plus the fact that I wore no makeup at all, simplified getting dressed in the morning. At the time, I was living in a $9 a week bare bones room with a funky bathroom down the hall shared with junkies, winos, and lots of Ajax in a rundown multi-story hotel above a bar on Grant Avenue. My lumpy single bed sat under a window overlooking the street where I could see, smell, and hear all the action. A distinctive bar odor of booze and cigarettes rising from the raucous establishment below permeated our building. Because Upper Grant Avenue and North Beach were predominantly Italian neighborhoods, that lovely garlicky scent of simmering sauce would come wafting down the street from the old spaghetti factory as soon as they started sauteing the sugo in the morning. Enhanced by yeasty, mouth-watering aromas from the ovens of various bakeries in the neighborhood. Always there was Italian opera leaking through the walls and windows out onto the street in competition with Jimi Hendrix screaming from the kids' rooms. The neighborhood was a wonder. On my days and nights off, I walked the colorful neighborhood streets, soaking it all up. Because I was under 21 and not yet allowed to purchase alcohol, I would usually end up nursing a cappuccino at Cafe Trieste on the corner of Grant and Vallejo streets. Often someone would bring bongos, offering a beat to the verse, our 60s rap. Later, filled with inspiration, I'd always end up at City Lights Books to spend money I should have saved for food. Music was my other obsession. There was a great record store on the corner where I also spent money I didn't have. There wasn't much in my room, but I had everything I needed. My portable sewing machine and a record player, both propped up on boxes, and a pile of books in the corner filled it up. Classical chamber music would start me off to work in the morning, and always jazz at night. I was learning to appreciate rock music with disdained hippies. Although I was too young, in my own opinion, I was a member of the Beat Generation. Grand Avenue is split down the middle, with Italians on one end and Chinatown at the other. My favorite place for cheap eats was a very funky Chinese diner called Fooey Gooey Louie's. Really. Perching on a red swivel stool at the counter, I could fill up for practically nothing. Since I didn't speak Chinese, I would just point to a plate that looked good. Best to finish it up, as I had no kitchen or even a tiny fridge to store leftovers. Unlike today, there were no homeless people sitting on the curb who would want leftover food. On sunny days, I'd wander down to Washington Square Park in the heart of Little Italy across the street from St. Peter and Paul Church, first stopping at Liguria Bakery for a cafe latte and some cannoli, so fresh they would melt on my tongue. Or maybe a hike up Telegraph Hill to visit Coit Tower to take in the incredible 360-degree views, and brilliantly colored historic wall murals would be just the ticket. The intersection of Broadway and Columbus near Grant was the seedy part of the hood. Barkers stood in the doorways of strip clubs and peep shows, loudly beckoning roving gentlemen to enter and harassing girls on the street. I knew to always watch my back at night. Best to avoid being noticed unless you were in the business of selling sex. My friend Sally worked at Joseph Magnin on Stockton and O'Farrell, an upscale fashion emporium selling hip styles which appealed to us young working girls. With her silky, lustrous hair, shimmering almost down to her hips and even longer legs, Sally always looked like she just stepped out of the store window. Guys were always trying to pick us up. Hey, want to smoke a joint? Which we politely declined, not wanting to get busted. Sally was always a hoot and full of good ideas. How about if we catch a bus on Saturday and ride down to Sausalito to hang out for the day? If there were any place I'd ever been that would qualify as the most awesome place on earth, it would be Sausalito. So when the weekend rolled around, we hopped onto the bus, eagerly anticipating whatever the day might offer. The bus dropped us off on Bridgeway, Sausalito's picturesque main drag, the entirety of which curved around Richardson Bay. A bright sun sparkled out on the water, wrapping all the sailboats in diamond necklaces, and the breeze so fresh it literally smacked me in the face with a big kiss. This was an entirely different world, only 15 minutes out of the city. We made a beeline for the Tides bookstore. Inside, the old batten and board building was warm and fragrant with its comforting redolence of books, coffee, and donuts. The Tides always had great music playing, and the people watching was the best. We wandered around taking our time, checking out titles and reading poetry. When each of us had selected something, we met up for a cup of free, strong, hot coffee, settling in some cozy, well-worn chairs in a corner, and blissfully whiled away the morning. Fortified with caffeine, we made our way down the main drag and through the side streets, meandering in and out of chic shops and jewelry stores. Further down Richardson Street on the bay side was a tiny shop in a beat-up little shack. If you didn't sew or knit, you'd probably pass it by. But I always had to go in and check out the handcrafted buttons and other lovely artistic notions, which included exquisite ribbon trims, which everyone back in the day sewed to the hems of their bell-bottoms. Those unique little items made a huge fashion statement in the 60s. Crossing the street, Sally and I agreed that we were starving. SoupCon was my favorite place in Sausalito for cheap eats. You could smell the enticing fragrance of the soups, long before stepping through the door. Every day the chefs would cook up giant kettles of a few mouth-watering varieties and serve huge steaming bowls with a hunk of freshly baked sourdough French bread for mopping up the savory goodness. Soup, the ultimate comfort food. It just didn't get any better than that. Not wanting to miss the sun setting over the city, we typically made it a point to get back on the bus just before sundown. No matter how many years I had lived in San Francisco, it always blew my mind across the Golden Gate Bridge, coming home to a panoramic sunset, settling over downtown. From our seats on the bus, as it approached the bridge, we watched the lights across the bay, illuminating the skyline of downtown high-rises and around the coastline to the Seacliff neighborhood. Always an unforgettable moment. Hanging out in marvelous Marin was fun, but we always loved returning to the city. Thank you. So in writing this book, my notes, because I printed it before any reviews had come in, I have to reprint it with the reviews on the back, but it says, writers are always reminded to listen and take note of conversations that they might hear in a cafe or on a bus. I've found this to be excellent advice for mining info for future stories. I slightly fictionalized 2 of the book stories gathered in that manner, adapting true stories and unwitting storytellers shared with me. Each time I heard those stories, I raced home to write them. Other stories are flash fiction, which I enjoy writing. Others are memoir pieces, and I added a couple of essays for good measure. I am indebted to the many good folks taking part in various writing groups who've included me over many years. We shared our work, listened to others' writing, and offered writing prompt suggestions. Some of the fiction stories here originate from these suggestions. Sure. Well, this is like a family reunion, really. I mean, does anyone have anything they would like to ask? You all know me so well.
Delightful, Nancy, delightful.
Thank you so much.
Having been a native of San Francisco and living there at that time, I truly can picture everything you were reading. You know,
You can smell the street.
Thank you.
you know, totally.
I'm glad.
So, really, really good.
It was an unusual time.
And
Janice?
So when you were reading that, I really could feel what it's like to be in the city. When I lived in the city, I hung out in North Beach a lot because of the music, usually at the saloon. And I don't,
Janice, by the way, is the president of the Sonoma Jazz Society, who provides all our music for us all year round.
and, so I don't know if your apartment was near the saloon on Grant?
I was on the corner of Grant and Green.
Yeah, it's right there. It's a dive bar.
Maybe I was right above it. I don't remember the name
We
of the
should go
bar.
down there. I was gonna say.
See, if it's
Check
still
it out.
standing.
It is, and,
It was
but
very
anyway,
funky.
I liked how you, your description of that, because you can, being in North Beach, the food, the music, the barkers, I mean, all that stuff, you can totally. And then what you said about the Golden Gate Bridge, I've been out here 40 years, and it's still, I just love it. I always love to go across the bridge or look at the bridge,
Yeah,
so,
never gets old.
yeah, that really hit home.
Well, I can't thank you all enough for coming. It's very heartwarming and validating to see you all here. Thank you
it's
very
our
much.
pleasure.
Well, thank you, Bev. Bev is in one of my writing groups, and it's just so useful to have a writing group. I'm very grateful for it. Melina.
What are you working on now?
Well, I am working on a novel, and I won't give a spoiler alert, but it's a completely different topic, and it's a really dark topic, and people say, well, why are you writing about that really dark topic? Because I feel that someone has to write about it. So it's going slowly, but it's coming.
It's going to be very good.
I read a chapter
Yeah.
every time at the reading group, and so they say, well, what happened? So that's great for a writer to hear that, that people are waiting to hear what happened, so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the snacks out there, and thank you, Readers and Books.
Yeah.